This is Euclid Book 10, proposition number 27. And here's the diagram. Okay. And what does Euclid say this time? He says to find the medial straight lines commensurable and square only, which contain a rational rectangle. Okay. First of all, you have to remember what medial lines are. You have to remember that they're commensurable and square only. You remember how that's done? In other words, there are two numbers. They can't be measured by any other number, but if you squared both of those numbers, there is a square area that can measure both of them. Okay? All right. Now, let two rational straight lines, A and B, commensurable and square only, be set out. Okay? So, A and B are rational because they're commensurable and square, even though there is no number that will measure the two lines themselves. Okay? Let C be taken as a mean proportional between A and B, and this is by Euclid Book 6, proposition number 13. Do you see how important Euclid's Elements is now? Okay. So C is the means proportional of A and B. So in other words, if you were to take the average of these two, you'd get C. Okay? So C kind of comes between A and B. You get the idea. And if you want to look it up more specifically, you can do that for yourself. Alright. And let it be contrived that as A is to B, so is C is to D. And this is by Euclid Book 6, proposition number 12. Okay. As A is to B, so is C is to D. That's what that's saying. Okay. Then, since A and B are rational and commensurable and square only, the rectangle AB, that is the square on C, which is Euclid Book 6, proposition number 17, is medial, which is by Euclid Book 10, proposition number 21. So what does that mean? Well, we're going to take A and B, and we're going to make a rectangle out of them. And two sides of that rectangle are going to be the length of A, and two sides of that rectangle are going to be the length of B. You can draw this up for yourself. Okay? Alright. Now then, what about the square on C? Okay. Well, you got to take the line C. Okay, you got to take this line right here. And you're going to make a square. And all four sides of the square are going to be the length of C. That's what that's saying. Okay. And since A is to B, so is C is to D, which we just said earlier, and A and B are commensurable in square only, therefore C and D are also commensurable in square only. And this is by Euclid Book 10, proposition number 11. And C is medial. Therefore, D is also medial. We already said that C is a medial line. So now we can say that D is a medial line. Okay. Let's go on here. Therefore, C and D are medial and commensurable in square only. I say that they are... Okay, I say that they also contain a rational rectangle. For since as A is to B, so is C is to D, therefore alternately, as A is to C, so is B is to D, and this is by Euclid Book 5, proposition number 16. So as A is to C, so is B is to D. Okay. Now then, let's go on here. Therefore also, as C is to B, so is B is to D. Oh, brother. As C is to B, so is B is to D. Now, what Euclid proves that? Well, I guess there isn't one. Therefore, the rectangle C and D is equal to the square on B. So in other words, if you take the line C and D and you make a rectangle and two sides of that rectangle are the length of C and two sides of that rectangle are the length of D, then that rectangle you form will have an area that is equal to another area. What other area is it going to be equal to? Well, then you're going to take the length of B here and you're going to make a square out of it. And all four sides of that square are going to be the length of B. So the area in that square is going to be equal to the area of the rectangle we just made a few minutes ago. And you can make all this for yourself, and if you do and you decide to post it on YouTube, I will include a link to that in the description below. Okay. Let's go on here. But the square on B is rational. Okay? Let me say that again. The square on B is rational. Therefore, the rectangle C and D is also rational. Therefore, medial straight lines commensurable in square only have been found, which contains a Let me say that a little more slowly, shall we? Therefore, medial straight lines commensurable in square only have been found, which contain a rational rectangle. And that is our proof. I will tell you more in a future video, so just stay tuned.